Morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing okay.
Okay.
Been MIA for a little while, but I'm back.
Well, good to see you.
Nice to see your smiling face as always.
Glad you're here. I appreciate that. All right. Only a couple minutes late after a long weekend, but better late than never. I think I've shared one similar to this a couple of weeks ago, but we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught, myself included. The life you want is on the other side of the work you're avoiding. And that's not just business related. Let's face it, right? So
you don't know how true that is, Josh.
Yeah. So, well, since Stuart already chimed in, I need to come up with a new award. I haven't come up with a clever name for it yet. But Stuart shared something late last week that he implemented that I loved for a number of reasons. I thought it was clever. I thought it was embodying a lot of the things that we've been talking about, documenting and demonstrating value and how you can help clients solve their problems. And I wanted to lead off with this. So I haven't come up with a clever award name for Stuart yet, but I would love to give something out every week to reward those of you who are creatively going out and solving problems or creatively creating opportunities. So rather than me explain it, Stuart, why don't you, if you're okay with it, tell everyone the inspiration for the idea, and regardless of if it has turned into any, clients or deals yet, the idea is based upon good, solid principles. So it may just be that this one implementation of it may or may not yield much, but if he does or takes the idea and implements it 5, 10, 15 times, I can't imagine that it wouldn't turn into opportunity. So Stuart, go ahead and share with everybody if you don't mind.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so I don't know exactly what I was doing to start it off, but I've got 11 and a half acres that I'm trying to sell. So I've joined a handful, maybe a dozen of the different, land for sale kind of Facebook groups in Georgia type of thing. So some of those pop up in my thread. And so I noticed a lot of people were asking, looking for 10 acres in this place, looking for something here, there, or the other. And so I said, shoot, I can reach out to them. And initially I was doing it individually, doing a little Zoom video with the little make it big thing, going, hey, if you can't find what you're looking for, we might be able to help you find it using this tool. Give them a real quick demo of LeadDeck, of how it worked in that video, 60, 90 seconds. And then I said, well, this is stupid. Why don't I just redo the video that's, one to many? So I did that, shared that with Josh. So it's basically just a quick overview. Hey, saw you posted this, looking for land. We might be able to help anywhere. And, kind of, if you have 90 seconds, watch this quick video. So now when I see that, I can just, fire back through Facebook Messenger and attach that link to the video.
How many have you sent?
Not a ton, maybe a dozen.
And have you gotten any? Has it created any conversations yet?
One.
Okay. Yeah,
there's a guy looking for. He's actually looking for a house and some stuff up in Athens, which is about an hour and a half. University of Georgia. So. Yeah,
I would. So of what you shared, and I just want to. I'm going to summarize back to everyone. Stuart was seeing people posting what they're looking for. So basically people publicly posting their buy box, which means at least theoretically they're a buyer. Now, it's not like pulling buyers in LeadDeck in the sense that you can't see that they have actually performed. And yet, if they're out posting, there's probably a reason they're posting. He took the initiative to proactively try and solve their problem for them or offer help to them, and demonstrated the tool that he has access to, many of you on here have, which is LeadDeck, and just connecting the dots. Here's something that I have access to that might help you solve your problem. The one thing you said in there that I might push back on you is, if you're going to go through the effort of doing that, I actually think the personal videos, 60 seconds or less with their name flashing, my guess is if you had done 12 of those personally, you probably would have more replies by now. I just have found over and over again, if you have their name flashing on the screen, that earns the opportunity for them to actually watch the message. And though you sent it to 12, I don't know if you can see how many people have actually watched it or not. If you had their name flashing on the screen, I would believe, and from my experience, north of 80% of them would have probably watched it. So something to consider. I get the idea of wanting to be efficient with your time, and also the return on the time invested with a conversation of someone who actually transacts with you is pretty good. So, and also some of that has to do I have more time, or do I have, or more money, right? Like how is my time best spent? I've just found that, yeah, the more personalized you make it, the more likely they are to watch it. The more likely they are to watch it, the more likely they are to respond. The more likely they are to respond, the more opportunities there are for conversations. And those conversations, you never know where they will go. You already found one that has a guy that has maybe multiple things. So, you know, that would be the only thing I might push back on. But I love the creativity. And if you are sharing into groups like, or following the process I had outlined 2 Wednesdays ago, which is now documented at leaddeck.ai/sprints, leaddeck.ai/sprints. It's free and open to anyone. It's from February 4th. It is a step-by-step process of posting into groups. You could also reverse engineer it, which is what Stuart did. He looked for people that are posting into groups, look for what they want, and go reach out to them. Also, if you find people posting off-market deals, reach out to them too, because that can be great bait for then you to use in the 3-step blueprint. Find good bait, use that as a reason to reach out to buyers, and then, you know, one way or the other, we're off to the races. So kudos on that, Stuart, and go ahead if you had anything else to.
Thanks. No, I'll just say I can do the personalized video. You're right. I mean, it takes 2 minutes. It'd be great if I could use the generic one and then just append onto.
Yeah, which for AI, I mean, eventually you probably can, but.
Yeah, the time involved to edit it and stitch it on there and the whole bit, just record the whole thing. But
yeah. I mean, you could do 15 of them. You could do 10 of them in 15 to 20 minutes, half an hour tops. And if 2, 3, 4 of them turn into conversations, I mean, I think it's time well spent. Susan.
Yeah, so just to make sure I'm clear, he sent those individually through DM to specific people rather than posting the video within the group. And why wouldn't you do that, or is that not a good idea?
Yes and yes. I didn't want to feel like I was hijacking somebody else's post. So there were a couple that I did just put it in that thread as a comment because they had posted anonymously for some odd reason, and you can't reply back to an anonymous person.
Why would they have posted that anonymously? Like, how would they get anything? I guess from comments?
No idea. I don't know.
Maybe they didn't realize. It's possible they didn't know they were posting anonymously. Maybe.
It's possible.
maybe.
Yeah, but if it had their name, you can click on the name, obviously, and send them the message, and I would just do it that way. And that would be my preferred method, but if not, I was a little hesitant to just post it in the group, but I did a couple times.
I
mean,
personally,
post in the group.
Susan, I wouldn't post that.
No, I did
Personally.
not post in the group. I just
Okay.
replied to their comment, to
curious.
their post. Of like, hey, check this out. Maybe I can help.
What I would post is something creating curiosity about what I have. In other words, I wouldn't post that video of me in LeadDeck showing the tool. I would save that for a private one-to-one communication. But I might post something, and I haven't even thought this through at all, so I don't know what it would sound like, but something along the lines of communicating that I have access to a tool that I am using to help clients source off-market properties. If you would like more information, shoot me a DM, or if that's something you'd be interested in and would like my help with, shoot me a DM or reach out. That's probably how I would handle it. The Deck Shoes Award, Harry says. Hey, listen, I'm open to anything as far as that goes. Joaquin, good morning to
A pair
you.
of topsiders.
Yeah. James says LeadDeck is our secret weapon. Yeah. So, and I don't know if this inspired Stuart to do this at all, but last week, I think it was last week, I was reaching out to absentee owners on Monday, and one of the people replied, and it inspired my 3 no's. They weren't interested in selling that one. They really weren't interested in selling any others, though I knew that they owned others. They were looking to buy. They wanted to add to their portfolio. So at some point in my conversation string, I sent him a personal Loom video showing him this is a tool that we have, that I have access to help you with that. And I was showing it for 2 reasons in that case. He also mentioned that he had land for sale in a particular area that he was looking to sell. So he didn't want to sell the type of properties that I was reaching out to them, but he did have that property. So I said, we have this tool, and I found that there are 6 buyers that might be interested. I'd be happy to reach out to them. And oh, by the way, we can also use this to help you source deals to add to your portfolio as well. Harry.
So on a separate thread, because I haven't been here for a little while, has anybody tried reaching out to agents who have withdrawn listings? Because those are listings where they still have a listing agreement, right? At least in Bright, they still have a listing agreement. Taken off the market as sort of a different take on, agent outreach to find, because clearly if something's been taken off the market, it didn't sell, they're still sitting there wondering what to do about it. And maybe you could use that as a way to get some bait.
I don't know if anybody here is using that strategy, but I think it's great. I think certain market areas or conditions you might see more or less of that, but agent relationships, it's technically off market, and you might find that they would still consider, but this is why it's withdrawn. So that could be great bait. I like it. I don't necessarily think that that's in the 13 ways doc, but it stands to reason that that would be another great potential strategy to reach out, connect with agents, and get the inside details, because they will most likely share with you why it's withdrawn, and that alone is the insider intel that we're looking for in most cases, right, to have a reason to reach out. So I love it.
I was thinking about that because as I looked through, 60 days or more on the market, at least in the immediate zip codes around me, there weren't a ton that were active that had been on the market for a while.
Okay.
There were a few, but this was just, sort of a way to kind of expand the pool of talent, so to speak.
Love it. Love it. I think it's a great idea. All right. Number 2 on my list. Over the weekend, I put together a guide that many of you have already requested. I sent a little teaser email. I posted in the school community. If you would like to check it out, depending on where you're watching this, you can comment, guide, you can text me at this number, you can DM me, whatever. It is I just called it the No BS Guide to Taking Listings from Absentee Owners this week. And many of the people requesting it are already Founders Club members. Transparently, I put that together to try and get more people to come join us in using the tool. And yet, I was really encouraged by the fact that many people who already have the tool read the guide and it inspired them to take action. One of which, I'm not going to share her name or the specifics because I didn't ask for her permission. But she messaged me last night and sent me a Loom video. She said the subject line was something like, reached out to 100. Because in the guide, what I'm prescribing is if you reach out to 100 absentee owners, tired landlord, in-state absentee, out-of-state, if you reach out to 100, it is really hard not to at least uncover 2, 3, 4, 5 listing opportunities. So she messaged something about 100. And then her video says, well, I've only actually gotten through 21 so far. And had already gotten 3 email replies with people saying some form of yes. One was, we were just talking about that and thinking about listing it or considering that, something along those lines. Another one said, just replied, we're looking for this amount. And I forget what the third one was. Point is, it was a Monday. It was a holiday. I mean, holiday, but not like a major holiday, but still President's Day, right? Which is why there was no live stream. My kids were off. It was enough of a holiday for that. And she only made it through 21 and had already gotten 3. Enough that her time is now better spent pausing on completing the 100 and making sure that she maximizes those 3 opportunities, which is kind of part of my number 3 here. I also was texting, and I was hoping to have more intel on this, but this is a newer Founders Club member. Her name is Giselle. She's on here quite frequently. I'm not sure if she's on this morning or not. I guess I should have checked. But she was just making sure, she was just kind of reaching out and making sure that she was plugged in appropriately and she wasn't missing anything, et cetera. And then she also mentioned, I've had 2 great conversations so far. So she literally, I don't know how long she's been using it, but somewhere between a week and 10 days, and has already had 2 great conversations. So it works if you work. It works if you work. And yet, if you're doing the work and it's not working to the degree you would like, let's figure out why it's not. I think it was last Wednesday, I talked about market, message, and method. Market, message, and method. And if something's not working, it's usually one of those 3 things. Are we targeting the wrong audience? Is the message we're saying off or not specific enough or something along those lines? Or is the method we're using not ideal for that specific target audience? Okay, closing some loops. I have a package. I have actually two packages of 5 properties that came my way in the last week. One of them was from CJ. I've referenced CJ a couple of times on here. CJ's in Sean's office with him. He's real estate curious. He's not licensed. He's worked for a local wholesale company for, 2 or 3 months. So he's got like a little bit of real estate experience. And as we've been building this out, Sean will just have him use the thing, just to stress test it and whatever. And CJ reached out to tired landlords a couple of weeks ago at this time. It might even be more than a month ago at this time. And one of the first ones, maybe the first one he reached out to, he asked if they were still accepting offers on the property, which it had never been. I don't know what prompted him to say that. Like, it hadn't been listed. It wasn't an expired listing. It wasn't a for sale by owner. They weren't indicating that they were selling. And yet it worked, because the woman he reached out to, after kind of being confused and stammering, said, well, not that one, but we have 5 others that we'd like to sell. CJ took them to a buyer that he had identified from the flipper target audience, and it's just kind of fallen apart. And he was kind of not sure what to do at this point. And so I'm taking the ball and running with it on his behalf, because they want to sell them. They want to 1031 exchange. And I think their numbers are reasonable. They're just not the level of discount that the wholesaler that he was taking them to would like to proceed with them. So I was working through this morning before going live, because one of the things, when I have someone, as long as it's a residential property, one of the first things I will typically do is I will pull it up in the Fast Cash Offers seller dashboard, because it's a bunch of different data points all at once. So I get 4 automated values and I get offer options. And it's just a quick and easy way for me to sort of get my bearings and see, are the numbers they thinking reasonable, or or is something wildly out of line here? And it's most often what I'm pivoting from, meaning to get sellers interested, we should, at least in my experience, the best way to get them interested is offer them what they want and then pivot to what they most often need. So what they want is a buyer, and they want speed and convenience in most cases. Offer that and pivot to what they most often need, which is your documented sales process to maximize exposure, get the greatest number of interested parties, the greatest number of offers, et cetera, negotiate highest and best. Anyway, I pulled up the one, for whatever reason, I think because it's in a condo association, it was pulling the wrong data, but I pulled up 4 out of the 5 here. And the 5th one I pulled up here, and I think we can make this happen. So what I am going to do next with them is I'm going to record a Loom video. It's going to be a little longer than normal, because several reasons. Number one, it's 5 properties, not 1. Number 2, they've already invested time. So I've already sort of earned the right to a longer presentation. And then I'm going to take that Loom and I'll turn it into a proposal versus a listing presentation. And because it is a little bit more complicated than just simply, one listing, I'm going to propose to them that we meet at one of the vacant properties. I think 2 out of the 5 are vacant, maybe even 3. And I'm going to propose that we meet at one of those later this week and hash out a plan to move forward. My goal will be to get them all on the market, listed individually, and note in the private remarks and probably the public remarks that these can be purchased individually or part of a package, depending on the interest and the investor. And then I'll also use that in my deal of the week email. I will also use it to post following the process that I shared 2 Wednesdays ago on the February 4th session, etc. And now I just need to close the loop on that. So that was one example of what I need to close the loop on. And then I can't remember if I mentioned this. I think, when did I mention this? Maybe on the Friday demo and Q&A. I sent an email. I should figure out when this email went out. I'm going to guess sometime in January, if I'm remembering correctly. It might have even been December, though. it was actually, I can probably figure it out just out of my own curiosity. And I want like the granular details of this on one hand aren't all that important, but I want to share this as an encouragement as much as anything. Does it show? Where are they? I don't know if I did them in a different account. Well, it's not that important. It's somewhere between a couple of weeks to as much as 2 months ago. I sent an email. I used the tool reaching out to multifamily property owners in a specific county because I have a buyer, and that's the buy box they have. They are looking to acquire 50 to 100 multifamily properties off market this calendar year. The representative I've been talking to is, like their acquisitions manager for a hedge fund. And so, why would I not get to work on seeing what I can find for them? And I had a guy call me on Friday. He actually called and I missed it because we were in the car driving. I called him back and he had gotten my email however long ago and now just decided to call me, sent me a spreadsheet with 5 or 6 properties, a breakdown, expenses, etc., and his asking price. And so I'm working with this acquisitions manager to see where they would be at on offer prices. Most likely, it's not going to match up. Don't care, because I then can pivot with Isaac, who owns, I think he sent me 6, but one of them he doesn't want to sell, or he sent me 5, but one of them, I don't remember. But then it will be, I will then pivot to, would you be open to, or would you be totally opposed to getting these things listed on the open market and see what sort of interest we get through that process? I'm trying to find the spreadsheet that I have that has the breakdown of it. My point in sharing that is, when you email and text message, you're planting seeds. And obviously, it's exciting when we get the immediate response, but sometimes the best ones come later. Like, I had no idea when I was messaging. So he sent me 6. One of them is he's not interested in selling. And his prices are reasonable. They're not wholesale priced per se, but just looking at the income, the unit counts, etc., I think we could sell all of them. It's just a matter of how and through what process. And the total price on them, if I add it up, is about $1.5 million in volume from an email. From somewhere between a month to 2 months ago. That was mainly what I had to share. I would love to open it up for anyone else who has questions or has follow-ups or anything along those lines. Janita.
Yes, good morning, everyone. So Josh, as a kind of along the lines of your, kind of closing the loops, last week, the seller that I was in the text message that I shared with you.
So just for those that missed it, that was, I think it was Thursday. I believe Thursday, I had shared an exchange that Jonita and I had that she was having with an expired listing. Yes, perfect. So if you missed that, it's from last Thursday. You can go to leaddeck.ai/closers and fill in the gaps. I also clipped that and put it on the Josh Shanley Coaching YouTube channel, like just that chunk of it for those who are interested. So go ahead. Sorry, I wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page.
So I met with Danielle with Zoom Casa, I think it is, right? Yesterday, had a good meeting. We came up with a proposal, presented it to the seller, right? who then came back with his asking price, which was again much higher than
Sure.
his last list price. Right?
Oh, it's higher than his last list price?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of feel like that he is unrealistic in his pricing right now, because the property was on the market the first time I think before they withdrew it for like 285 days. And then again, once they reduced the price for another 270 plus days. Right.
Yeah.
And so he's still asking for more at the closing table beyond that that price. So how would you close the loop on that one? Because
I probably wouldn't.
Okay.
I mean, well, okay, so I would close it, but this is an example of we just need to find more conversations.
Okay. Good.
You, on the one hand, I could say that this was time wasted. On the other hand, you met with Danielle, you did the work, you got practice, if nothing else. So you are better suited to serve the next one that raises their hand. So from that perspective, absolutely a win. Some people are just unreasonable. So I would close the loop by making him some sort of offer or planting some final seed.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be overly invested in it. And the simple fact that you're not overly invested, or you're not, I would tell him the truth and make him an offer. And I would tell him the truth, meaning as much as I can state in factual data. And I would make him an offer of some form or fashion. I totally get where you're at. The market and actual buyers are still at odds here. I would love to help you if or whenever the time is right to actually get this thing sold. But unless or until we can explore how else we can communicate the value that the general public isn't seeing that you are, I'm not sure there's much I can do for you.
Awesome.
And when you are truthful without being, finding a way to communicate that as I'll call it hard truth, but it's reality.
Mm-hmm.
And you do it in a way, and if you present it, and I'm sure that you will, but I'm just saying for everyone, when you present it in a way that it is direct, but not critical, let's say.
Right.
When he becomes more realistic, he will remember you, or he is more likely to remember you versus the other people that he's dealt with. In other words, I have gotten, whatever, I'm not going to put a number to it, but I've gotten a lot of business that I didn't get at first, that I got eventually, because I was the one telling the truth, quote unquote, or the one that wasn't telling them what they wanted to hear, or buying the listing is a phrase that some people say. Mm-hmm. There's one it's out on the main road that we drive every single day. I've seen this property for years. I've been talking to the owner for years. Sometime in November or December, I think it was from my 3-step action plan, my home value update 3-step action plan. So I sent an email with an updated home value. I sent a bump text, and then I send the follow-up email. He reached out to me and said, something to the effect of, I'm finally ready to get it on the market. I'm talking with 1 or 2 other agents. Can you propose, can you tell me what you could do on it, or something along those lines? And so I did. It was a Loom video I took the transcription and turned it into a proposal. And I don't think he liked my answers. I never, I did my best to close the loop on where he was at. And then eventually I saw a sign up there. And I don't think there's been a single showing. There certainly haven't been any offers on it, because they listed it at $250,000 more than I said was the very high end of what I thought it should be listed at. And so eventually I may still get that business, because I was the one that told him the truth and didn't just try to buy the listing. We'll
Right,
see.
Right.
I may or may not, but
Okay.
win some,
Okay.
lose some, who cares next, right? Win some, lose
Okay.
some, who cares next? You are more skilled than you were a week ago at this time. And there's plenty
Absolutely.
other people out there that have more motivation and are more realistic.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was thinking last night, because I didn't respond to him initially because it would have been somewhat critical.
Right.
Right. So I said, just take a breather and wait till tomorrow morning, right? Run it by Josh, and then, kind of respond, and I already crafted something that I'll kind of.
And if you haven't already, I would also include for him, this is the best comp that I found. And this is the active on market competition.
Okay.
You might include that as well. Because if I remember correctly, so let's say just for those who are curious, he's somewhere around 800. The best comp is somewhere around 500. And there's an active, somewhat similar at $1 million. But it's active and it's been active, I think, for a while.
We're right, over 30 plus days.
Okay, well, that's not super long. Here's what I would do if I were you also. Keep an eye on that one. Because if it does go under contract, that is a great reason for you to get back out in touch with him.
Josh, can I add something there for her?
Sure.
Anytime I'm angry or upset with a client, I will write what I'm going to send them. I will take it to Chat GPT and tell them, I need you to soften this. I need you to create this type of an outcome from this message. And it is uncanny at being able to help you to do that and take the emotion out of it. Because a lot of times when we're angry, if we send off a text or an email, it's not going to get the response we want.
Absolutely. And I did that actually late last night too, Campbell. So thank you. Yeah. Thank you for confirming.
It's saved my bacon a bunch of times from sending a message that would have been incendiary. Because I'm a bomb thrower by nature. It's who I am. So
Grenade!
I have to, Josh is the same way. So I have to learn that when I'm trying to get business, I have to soften it when I do that. And since it's not my nature, I have to rely on another nature to do it.
I listen to several podcasts every morning, short podcasts, one of which is the Daily Stoic. And the message this morning, and I've heard it many times from him, it's Ryan Holiday, the Daily Stoic, was something along those lines. Like, write the letter and then put it away and know that, you got it out of your system. It's not going to help the situation, but now we can write the letter and have ChatGPT or Gemini or whichever turn that message into a softer, more helpful or useful communication. So,
and then be sure and write it on a Word doc, not on an email, because out of habit we will send it.
That's a fair point as well. Yeah. Yeah. And Marilyn said, respond, not react.
I take the name out of who it goes to.
Yes, I've done that.
Email.
Yeah.
It ends up in draft. That way it can't get sent by accident.
Yeah.
That's right.
Awesome. And then Josh, one other quick follow-up question along that same line.
Sure.
With fast cash offers.
Yeah.
Before my meeting with Danielle yesterday, what I also noticed for that property, it had the number of bathrooms incorrect. So I went in and updated that, but I didn't see a way. Is there a way to regenerate those offers or no?
It won't regenerate them because it's based upon tax record data, and that means the tax record data is inaccurate. So
in this case,
what's that?
It was not in this case. The tax record data was correct. So I don't know where they pulled that information from. So this particular property has three bathrooms.
And that's indicated on Realtor.com and Zillow and Redfin. I wonder.
I don't know that I checked Zillow, but I did check Realist. And I saw that on Realist, which is the tax records here, that it showed 3 bathrooms. But fast cash.
I'll ask Joe if there's something else to that I'm not aware of how else that could be.
Check.
Okay. In those cases, there's no way that I'm aware of to regenerate the offers, but that's a case where you go to Danielle or Cheryl directly and say, I have someone, this owner is interested in these offers, but the data that is pulling to generate the automated offer is off. Could you take a look at this and see how that might affect the preliminary offer? Which
it's
is
correct on Zillow.
unnecessary if you have somebody who's already sort of expressed interest, because what I mean is, if somebody has already expressed interest, I'm going to send it to Danielle or to Cheryl and say that they would like a final, here's an actual detailed market or property sheet. And usually I will also provide them with comps, particularly Danielle. The way you submit for final and quick buy is different, but and you, just for those who are using the platform or curious about the platform, you can, let me think here. How do you edit it in here? Info? No. There is a way to edit it. Oh, there you go. Details. If you hit details, you can confirm, but it won't, there's no way to regenerate the offer. It says 3-bedroom, but it's 4. It says, 2-bedroom, but it's 3, or 2-bathroom, but it's 3. There's no automated way to update the preliminary offer figures.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
I did just check, and it is correct on Zillow as well. So
I'm not sure how that would be pulling in inaccurately then, but I'll see if I can get more.
No worries. I was just curious. Thank you.
You bet. Stuart.
So from a tactical perspective, so I had not reached out to any for sale by owners yet, and I started looking on Zillow yesterday. And then I was looking through my encyclopedias, Josh over here. And of course I came across, the golden question, if we brought you an offer, would you pay a finder's fee? But so it's kind of two questions. Are you just looking at any FSBOs, or are you looking, so much time on Zillow? And then kind of if they say, yeah, we'll pay you, kind of what's your follow-up from there? That's kind of what I was looking for in here, but I didn't really see.
Okay. What's the first question?
So when you're looking at FSBOs, are you just looking at any, popped up yesterday, or are you looking at 60 days on the market, 90 days, something like that?
I'll set to any of them. Yeah, I'll send to any. I'm not necessarily, in part for me, there's very little. So when I'm working FSBOs, I had FSBOs on my list to reach out to this morning. Maybe I'll do that here in a minute. Why don't I do it now? Who cares? So I'm going to start sharing my screen. So the question is, first off, do I filter for days on market? I don't, but I mean, you can, I think it's just whatever. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to that. And then what was the next question?
So if they reply back and say, yes, we'll pay a finder's fee, kind of what is your next steps after that?
Okay. Just like off-market seller in LeadDeck says, I'm open to an offer. Am I bringing a portfolio offer or an institutional offer? I'm presenting that as a preliminary offer, and I'm planting the seed for a 7-day stress-free home sale. And let me think of where this is. I did not get this listing.
I'm going to try to set up an appointment or anything.
Okay, so it depends. I have a new agent who just came and joined our organization, and she had a family tragedy that has temporarily put her focus elsewhere, and rightfully so. Until that happened, it was almost like a daily diary, because I wanted to have something to then take and share with others in a similar boat. And she was essentially implementing the 3-day deal sprint. So, that process. And part of that was she was reaching out to FSBOs and expireds. And the point I was emphasizing over and over and with her is we're just practicing. This is just reps. We disassociate with the result. You just have to get more comfortable and competent and confident having conversations. In her case, I think as many appointments she can go on is good. She needs to see properties. She needs to have conversations in person with people, etc. So for her, I'm recommending she has more time than she has money, and she needs more practice. For her, I would get in front of every single one you could possibly get in front of. Within reason. She shouldn't be driving 75 minutes for a 15-minute FSBO preview, but within reason. If you're good and you're skilled and you're competent and you're confident, I would, before seeing it in person, do this work. Get the I'm open to compensation and make them some level of offer, and position the next best step to explore this or that is I will need to pop by in person to verify, get my own photos, etc. So in other words, they say yes, it's available. They say, yes, I'm open to compensation. Great. Let me put together some preliminary numbers and options for you, and I will email them to you later this afternoon or tomorrow morning. Does that work? ? Yes, that would be great. Okay. Can you confirm the best email for you? Okay, so I'm getting more data. I'm getting more intel. I then put together a 60 to 90 second. Here's preliminary offer options. Oh, by the way, we've got this other option, which is what most of the clients that we end up working with end up choosing, blah, blah, blah. And then it's just a matter of following up and following through, like closing the loop. You don't hear from them, just making sure you got it. We got it. We're not interested right now. Okay, great. Would it be okay if I check in with you every Monday to see where you're at with things? Right. So just like continuing that conversation. And I think the for sale by owners is it's both a marathon and a sprint, because some of them are going to list pretty quickly, but a lot of those have already chosen their listing agent. So that's another reason why I don't think you blindly, if you're busy and you have a pipeline, you don't blindly go out to a FSBO preview appointment, because they may have already decided that if they can't sell it themselves, they're listing with so-and-so. So in that case, you're playing the fool and you've got no chance at being the favorite. But if I bring them what they actually want and plant the seed for what they might need, there's something to that. So I am hoping, I don't think she's here. Hold on. Yeah. I'm hoping to have Val on to interview this week, because she has been having some tremendous success with for sale by owners in a market that she is very new to still. Now, she is an experienced agent, but she's new to the market, and she has had significant success with that. She is following Stuart shared one FSBO scripting process that has been proven to be very valuable. Hi, Stuart. This is Josh with eXp Realty. Just curious, are you still accepting offers on your property at blank address, or is blank address still available? Yes. Okay, great. If we brought you an acceptable offer, would you be open to paying a finder's fee? And anything other than no, then we go for the next step. What she has been using, Val has been using, is find it. She's been using the script that is, hey, James, or, most of the time we don't have the for sale by owner's first name right there. So usually it's not even that. Hi, this is Josh with eXp Realty. I have an out-of-state private client that is interested in making an offer on your property at street address. Is it still available? That's the script she's been using, and she's been going directly for the appointment. So, some level of yes, she goes and meet with them, and she has turned at least one of those into a listing. I think more, but it's just she's been busy, and it's been busy. So I wanted to loop her back in so she could share what's going on with that and how that's going. That was a really, really long answer. If I were prescribing for you, Stuart, I would prescribe for you not to go out there until you have some sense that they're either open to the preliminary offer from Zoomkasa or QuickBuy or whomever in the fast cash offers. You may even have Homeward also down there.
Seen that one yet.
Or they're curious about the 7-day stress-free home sale. Like I would introduce friction to save yourself the time of going out there. If someone needed reps and needed practice and would benefit from the in-person, just reps and practice, then absolutely remove the friction and get in person with them. But just know that you're going to meet with some people that have already decided who their listing agent will be if they can't sell it themselves.
That's a good point. Everybody knows somebody.
James, did you raise your hand around this topic? Because I don't think Kevin's is. I want to keep it. Okay, yours is a different topic. Let me share one last thing while still on this topic. Yeah. In here, I'm going to drop this in the chat. This FSBO example in this document, I think that's the right one. I did not get that listing. However, I think it's a good example of how I pitch and pivot. And I didn't get it because the wife already had a favorite. The husband liked me, but let's face it, the wife won. She already had a favorite. And I think they may have actually sold it themselves. I can't remember exactly. But it was good practice for me. And that is one where I went for out-of-state private client, and I went and met with him before I even pitched the initial offers. It was also a little bit more expensive property. It was like a $600,000 property, something like that. And so that also played a role. It was not far from me. A, it was higher priced. B, and I decided I could use the practice. So I just went for the appointment. There's some good examples in there. There's a couple of good examples, but this one particularly, the FSBO example. Kevin. Still there, Kevin? All right, James, until Kevin can figure out his audio.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead, Kevin.
That was exactly what I was doing, trying to figure out, get my audio. Real quick, you had said in the beginning of the call about the absentees, and I thought you said was there like a certain step where they were sending out certain emails, 100 to 100 people. Is that in a form, or is that like in a PDF somewhere, or what is that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll share the guide, but it's literally just doing what we've been telling you to do for 4 months.
Okay.
Just literally, I don't think there's anyone in here that's actually reached out to 100.
Okay. I didn't know if there was a specific email that they were actually copy and pasting it and sending it out.
Well, they're not copying and pasting it. They're tapping.
Well, yes. Okay. I'm sorry.
But it's the exact message that we've been like,
okay.
just wearing out. It is. where is it? It's the same script. Hey, Kevin, this is Josh with eXp Realty. Is there any chance you'd consider selling your property at street address to a private client of mine in the next 30 to 90 days or less?
Okay.
It's just a matter of doing it enough.
Okay.
Um,
And that's the email.
what's the email?
Is that an email or is that text?
Yes.
Well, okay. Okay.
And a phone call.
Perfect.
Look, here is,
Okay,
I guarantee this. Look, everybody look me in the eye. I'm making this guarantee to you. If you do it with 100 absentee owners in LeadDeck and you don't get at least 2 listing opportunities, I will write you a check for $500, $1,000. It's impossible. Impossible. It's just that everybody wants to find some reason not to do it. I don't know what to do. And I'm not getting, I'm getting wound up because I want people to win.
Yeah.
And what I constantly am working to overcome in people is like finding some reason not to do it.
Well, just like I did my Loom video, like I've never done before that you told me to do. I'm gonna do this 100. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna.
If it takes you all week, if it takes you all month,
I don't give a shit. I'll do 25 a day. It doesn't matter. I mean, whatever that number is, but I mean, I'll hit that 100 and I'll let you know because I mean, that's a win.
You won't get to 100.
10-4. I gotcha.
You won't, because then you'll have by the time you get there, you'll be so busy that you just won't get there.
Josh, what is the 100 you're referring to?
Just 100. Doing 100.
100 what?
Whatever.
Okay.
Picking 100 absentee owners.
Okay, you're talking about 100 people in the deal deck is what you're referring to.
Correct. So often I get, this isn't working. How many have you reached out to? This is going to be a more defined topic later in the week, because I'm getting people that come and say, I'll give a very specific example. I'm not going to say her name.
Cut the pool in half for us, though.
I'm not having much luck with calling absentee owners. That's why I'm looking for distressed and motivated sellers. I can't do anything with I'm not having much luck. What does that mean? What does that mean? So when we're looking for help, just like when we're communicating, the more specific we are, the better. Okay. So what would be ideal is if she said, I have reached out to this amount of absentee owners, and specifically, like, was it in state, out of state? Was it tire landlord? Who was it? Right. So as specific as possible. This many of them, I called, texted, and emailed all of them. And I got this many responses. All were like, but if it's not specific, we can't fix it. So then I had this lengthy engagement back and forth, and I still don't know. I still don't know, because it has to be specific. The other reason why you're going to hear me say more and more often 100 is because if you actually set out to do 100, simply in the pursuit of doing the 100, you will get better at doing it. Because the more you do something, if it's not working, you're going to figure out why. Is it market, message, or method? And the pain of doing the work without the response will actually create the feedback loop for it to start working better. This is
Josh, your example of having the cards in both hands. I have got investor A, who's a lady, has a property that she wants to sell that they've just finished renovating. They're doing work on it as of today. I've got investor B, who is looking for turnkey rental property. We're meeting at the property today at 12. He's already driven past. And if he likes the inside, he'll make an offer today on it. And that was all from LeadDeck. I literally found investor A, who I did not have a relationship with, and she's brought me multiple properties for me to shop out for her. And I took it to one of my existing investors who I've helped buy a house before, who's looking for another one.
beautiful. you guys, you Founders Club members, you are going to absolutely love the update that Sean is going to share at 1 o'clock. I was literally like, he had been telling me what he was doing. And until we were actually using it and him showing me, I literally, like, my excitement level was like rising as he's showing me. It will help a great deal of you connect more dots and see things visually and be able to play the matchmaker, and therefore earn your fees and compensation.
How long will that take him to cover? Because I've got to step into a 2 o'clock appointment with a business partner that we're looking at launching another business.
I mean, you'll have the gist of it in that point in time for sure. And then if not, I mean, the replay, the recording will also be.
Appreciate what you're doing, brother.
Yeah. James, Wendy, and then I want to get to Rosemarie's comment as well.
I should know this probably, but how are you manually displaying your home valuation and cash offer leads that you get in ProEdge? Or do you have a recording of that?
Wait, say what again?
So, I get emails from ProEdge with home valuation leads that come through and cash offer leads. Are you manually like sending looms? Like what's your process? Like
somebody that's looked at, they've clicked the link to go to their dashboard.
Yeah.
That's when they get the money email. Hey, what was the reason? I don't do anything until they,
Are you talking home valuation or cash offer?
Yeah, if they look at their dashboard, I send them one of these 3 emails, and then they'll get something personalized. But just somebody looking at their dashboard, to me, I mean, it's mild intent, but until they actually tell me, which of these would you say is most accurate about why you're interested in the value or offers or, whatever, you're probably not ready to sell right now, but when the time is right to move on from street address, will you be staying in the area or relocating elsewhere? Where was the third one? Oh, what did you think of the values? Which also you could just say, what did you think of the offers?
Okay.
And then PS, any interested in exploring? What's that?
You put the link to that in the chat there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And are you sending those out through ProEdge or?
I don't use I don't.
It's all through Bold Trail?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
they like what I haven't done, which is just stupidity on my part.
You're manually doing that, right?
I'm manually doing it, but I could set up a campaign that launches, because when they look at that, they get a tag, they get a hashtag, and then go that. But I've just been doing it manually because it's worked. But that's how I'm converting the the people looking at it into. So I won't go to the extent of the Loom video and the proposal until they've actually told me, yeah, I'd be curious, or they've said, I'm thinking about selling sometime in 2025. See, which this needs to be updated 2026. There you go.
Thank you for covering that.
Yeah, you bet. Wendy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I implemented that last week, Josh, the that full process that you do with the dashboard, and it was good. It was successful for my first one. I've got to close some loops today, but I had a guy reach back out and said he's ready to sell. And it's somebody that I talked to before, but he kind of fallen off my radar because he's been on my database for a long time. And then interestingly, like I had people looking at that dashboard that I really never talked to. So that was pretty cool. I think I've been like focused on getting myself organized. So I've got all my buyers, my properties, in a Google sheet now so that I can like really keep organized on what I got. Yesterday, I got up and I was like getting ready to go get my listing launched, and somebody reached out in one of the groups, Facebook groups that I'm on now, and she's like, oh, I'm looking for an off market. I'm looking for a property, looking to buy a house like imminently in this neighborhood, which is a very high, like a a pretty high price point, like probably the average price in there's like $1 million. So I messaged her and I was like, I have off market properties in there because I know I can generate it. And she told me what she was looking for. Long story. She at first told me she had a buyer's agent, but she really does not. It's an expired agreement with a buyer's agent. So I've got her under a limited BA, and I ended up sourcing 2 properties yesterday off market with LeadDeck. And I sent a whole bunch of letters in the mail too, just because I didn't get a ton of responses. So I kind of just manifested like $1.4 million buyer yesterday out of nowhere, which is pretty cool. So I feel like you just have to kind of go with the process and sort of take the opportunities as they come about and work those opportunities and not get I don't get real wedded to any particular like piece of bait or person necessarily. I just kind of work to see if I can get a deal done. So thought I'd kind of drop that in there.
I could not agree with those sentiments more. The less attached you are to the result, the more attractive you are to the clientele. And what I think is the problem for most is not enough cards in their hands. And then we become that creates this sense of attachment to, I've got to make this thing work. I've got to make this one work, versus just so much volume of activity that the easy, natural, no-brainer just kind of floats to the top. And I just find that what also happens in that process is business comes back and finds you. Because you know, I don't know, for some reason I thought of the analogy, like when you love something, let it go. And if it comes back, whatever. But like when you let like Jonita's expired listing, I can't guarantee that it'll come back to her, but if she tried to force it, in my experience, it would decrease the likelihood that she does get it. But by detaching herself from it, she actually will create the vacuum that it might come back to her. And Bill, I could not agree more. Volume is too low in most cases to determine if this works or not. I just, volume negates luck. Volume negates luck. And when you do something often enough, you will find ways to make it better, either by soliciting feedback or just in like the natural flow of this would, this is a better way to do it. Or I notice when I do this, it works a little bit better, or I can be more efficient doing it this way. But most people just don't get to a number that is statistically relevant. I'll say this publicly because I gave her a hard time and she was good about it. But Lorraine, who I don't think is here this morning, she was like, well, the buyer lead gen wasn't working or something like that. And then we looked, she had reached out to 9 cash buyers and one of them had already turned into a potential client. 1 out of 9. 9. 1. Like, it's just not enough. It's just not enough. Rosemary, maybe I'm being overly cautious, but it's not legal to text someone unless they've opted in first. Have these people opted in? I know my CRM will not allow me to text or email unless I agree that I have expressed permission to do so. I've been calling only. This is a one-to-one text message only sent to people who are not on the DNC. I am not an attorney. I'm not, this is not legal advice, whatever. I will absolutely text anyone and everyone if they're not on the DNC, because I am sending a one-to-one communication. It's not a robo-text. It's not a robo-dial. It's not anything. I'm literally sending one-to-one communication to people that are not on the DNC. And I'm also offering something that is not service related. I mean, I guess you could do splitting hairs a little bit there, but I literally don't know what we're talking about as far as that goes. If they're on the DNC, no way. I'll email them, or if I really want to get them or get a hold of them, I'll send them direct mail. But if they're not on the DNC, we're absolutely, I'm absolutely reaching out. while Wendy was sharing, just because I had to get something done during this session for my own business, I texted 2 for sale by owners. One to see if they were still accepting offers, because it's been listed a while and I've actually texted him, and another one to see if they that I had not reached out to before. That was this message here. I'll try not to put their cell phone in it. Well, what the heck, man? I'm goofy. I don't know what I was doing. Hi, this is Josh with eXp Realty. I have an out-of-state private client who'd be interested in making an offer on and street address. Are you still accepting offers? So, nice thing with that one, I can just copy and paste that one. Go ahead, Susan.
Yeah, so I've been doing this for a while, and I've reached out to well over, I don't even know how many credits I've used, but is there any reason ever to go back through the decks that we already have and recontact a lot of these people? Sometimes it just seems to be, to me, the ones that I've gotten a matter of timing when they happen to see the text or they happen to get the email.
It's funny that you're bringing that up.
Time?
I mean, it's funny that you're bringing it up. I was thinking about that this morning and trying to clarify in my own brain. Crap. Oh, good. Didn't go through. When it would make sense to do that. And let's face it, it doesn't take long. So why not?
No, it didn't. That's kind of what I was thinking too. I was thought, maybe like on Monday mornings, I should go back through this deck and just start picking them up and going back through them and make it part of my schedule to do.
I think it matters less as to whether it's someone you're revisiting or someone new. What to me matters more is the block of time, committing to this many days, this block of time, and this target number of contacts. Like just loosely speaking, if I want to close a transaction a week, I think you should be blocking 4 times. So a transaction a week is 4 per month. And the way I think about it is, if I want to, if understanding the idea that volume negates luck, and I want to make it, I want to do everything possible to make it, inevitable that I'll do that number. I would do 4 a month. I would do 4 days a week, a time block of 45 to 75 hours, 45 to 75 minutes. Okay. And I would target 25 contacts in that block. So that's 100 contacts a week. That's 400 a month. Out of 100, if you did that in a month, most of you, myself included, when I've done that, I get so busy, then it's about closing the loops and making sure that I'm actually writing the contracts and getting the transactions on the board.
So I started thinking about this just because I keep getting duplicates on some of my decks, and I'd asked Sean about it, and he said, well, it's because they come up under a different address, and it doesn't look for names or say emails, or probably phone numbers would be the easiest way to tag them or whatever. But then I thought, why do I care? I'll just contact them anyway. I mean, so what if they're duplicates?
I couldn't agree more. I hear often from people using it. Like so the lady that I shared who got 3 out of 21, in that video, she said that she skipped a bunch because they recently purchased the property. I was like, why? Who cares? Like, why would you skip? And the other point I made is they own other properties. So they recently purchased this one, but we're going for 3 no's. No, I'm not interested in selling this one. Do you have any others that you might consider selling? No. Okay. Or are you looking to add to your portfolio? Anybody else? Here's the No, this for sale by owner is finally supposed to sign a contract today. I dropped the ball on this one. I could have gotten that listed and sold. I probably could have had it. He's just now signing a contract. We probably could have had the transaction closed if I hadn't dropped the ball. And some of that was insanely cold weather and a foot of snow that threw a kink in the works. All right, 1 o'clock today for Founders Club members. V3 version 3.0 being released, a very big update. And actually, here, let me double check something. I want to share something that I think was also updated, but I want to make sure that I'm right before I share it. That might be of particular interest to Wendy, other people as well, but particular with Wendy. Ooh, it is there. Okay, so I'm going to share that before, but that's at 1 today. I'll be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to most likely be more of a work session, or at least more in that. Today I was kind of a little bit, Q&A, AMA kind of stuff. At 11 a.m. tomorrow for our sprint, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to introduce the idea and shut up and actually see how many I can get through. Tired landlords, how many can I get through in a block of 60 minutes? And so if you come on it late and you're like, what's going on? It's because we're working, and I can't help myself. So I'll be talking and whatever. I'll be filling the silence. But that I'm going to just pick a bucket of tired landlords and get to work. And those of you who have access, you can be doing that along with me. And then we'll have Closers Cafe Thursday morning and the live demo and Q&A Wednesday at noon. So I'll tease one update with version 3.0. And the reason why I referenced Wendy is Wendy has mentioned a couple of people. Wendy has at least one, maybe two buyers who their buy box is like 1 to 1.5 million. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So in that case, you can now filter for minimum and maximum bedrooms and minimum and maximum value. For whatever reason before, it was only min beds and max value. I don't know why, but I could go, I've got Mechanicsburg. I have no idea what this is going to yield, but I'm going to say 1 to 2 million. And I can preview the lead counts. So this is Mechanicsburg, PA, single family, 1 million to 2 million. This is the AVM value. Okay, automated value may or may not be super accurate. There's 2 tired landlord. There are 1 to 2 million. There's 11 tax default and 11 involuntary liens. 2 out-of-state absentee. So you can get. I guess one of the reasons why I wanted to add that is to have more practical use cases, not just when you have an investor buy box, but when you have someone looking for something a little bit unique or different or in a particular price range, et cetera. And so it's a little tweak, but it also means, Wendy, for example, when she reaches out to those seller buckets, she can be more specific, meaning she knows more about the property potentially, and she can naturally connect that to her buyer. And the more specific those communications are, in my experience, the higher the response rate is, because it feels more real, because it is. So if I say, hey, Stuart, this is Josh with eXp Realty. Would you consider selling your property at street address to a private client of mine this, in the next 30 to 90 days or less, ? That will get response. If I say, hey, Stuart, this is Josh with eXp Realty. Would you consider selling your property at street address to a private client of mine in the next 30 to 90 days? Her name is so-and-so. She's looking for X, and we just haven't found what she's looking for on the market. It just hits different. Oh, well, let's talk about what Susie's looking for or whatever. Harry, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that price range is super helpful with retail buyers.
100%. That's the idea. That's why we wanted to add it in there,
right.
So that
Super helpful. So thumbs up.
Yeah. So what if for those of you that haven't gone through our 3-day deal sprint, it's 4 modules. Module 0 is blocking a 50-minute, literally setting a timer for 50 minutes and sitting down and making a list, ideally in a Google spreadsheet. These are all of the buyers that I have that would make an offer or have at least indicated to me that they would make an offer if I found them exactly what they were looking for. And they might be investor buyers.
Where my buyer today came from was that 50-minute session.
So it could be a retail buyer. It could be an investor buyer. It doesn't matter. It's not about that. And the more ways we can go and proactively find that. And also, let's say Wendy does what I just described. She had better then communicate back to, I said Susie, I just picked a name. Just so you know, Susie, this morning I reached out to 31 potential off-market properties that fit the criteria you're looking for. I've got access to this cool little tool that we use in cases like this for us to go and find. So we document and demonstrate, because when you do that, you increase the likelihood that they will go out of their way to send you more business. I can't believe how, Wendy is like the opposite of what I'm used to dealing with real estate agents. Like I've heard that repeatedly over the last 3 or 6 months from people that have left me Google reviews and that said, I hated real estate agents, but I like you, And it's just because, I don't think I do anything overly special, but I do the work and then I document and share with them the work that I'm doing. On my list today, I'm going to end with this. On my list today is Tuesdays are my day to update my listings. And that's an example of documenting and demonstrating. So I will show them, here's the activity that we've seen on different portals, et cetera. This is the activity. This is what I've been doing proactively. And I'm just keeping you in the loop. And if it's time to consider a price reduction on a property, I'll plant the seed for that as well. And it's not I'm telling them, it's that, from what I'm seeing, we might consider this. All right. I will see many of you at 1. If not, I hope to see you back tomorrow morning. If you go to, if you're watching this on the live stream, the description should have links where you can watch replays of this. You can join live in the Zoom rooms, as well as tomorrow's 11 a.m. session. You can do the same, or Friday's noon session. LeadDeck.ai/closers, LeadDeck.ai/CAL has the whole calendar, and LeadDeck.ai/sprints has the sprints replays. Thanks, everybody. And if I don't see you this afternoon, hopefully see you tomorrow morning. I'm sorry, Lisa. No webinar today. Between traveling and some other things, we got derailed. So I have no webinar set up and no registrants lined up.